Welcome to the Pennsylvania Historical Markers series. Thanks, everyone.
Hello once again, this is Jonathan Miller, Hometown Historian channel. We are actually here in Hummelstown, Pennsylvania, which is a little west of Hershey. This Pennsylvania Historic Marker sign is for the Hummelstown Brownstone Quarries. High quality brownstone was quarried near here 1863 to 1929 and sold across the nation as preferred masonry materials of builders. The Hummelstown Brownstone Company, founded by Walton, employed immigrant skilled stone cutters and laborers in its quarries. Here is an example of those brown stones. You'll see a number of the churches. This is a Reformed church. I believe this was built in 1907, and it was actually an individual church. It's the United Church of Christ now, but it was a Reformed church. It was formed in 1766. Really, really beautiful stonework. Like, these make really pretty churches. We actually had the one church, the Hill Lutheran Church in Cleona, which is the oldest Lutheran church in Lebanon County, and the Reformed church that had a lot of times Reformed churches and Lutheran churches in the older days would share facilities, and the Reformed church built their churches like this brownstone or red stone. It's just a really, really pretty windows here. But there's a stone here that says about when it was built and then when it was organized. And there it says about the Reformed Church in 1907, and eventually it became United Church of Christ, but it was organized 1766. So there would have been a building here at some stage, or even like however long they, because for instance the one in Cleona, the Hill Reformed Church, that was built I think in 1903 or 1909. It was right in that period, but they had shared facilities with the Lutheran Church until then, and they had started back in the 1730s. So, you know, they would share facilities sometimes for a really long time. But really beautiful stained glass. But with that, I'll get a little bit more information on that, and we'll talk a little bit more in detail about the brownstone quarries. Thanks, everybody. The Hummelstown Brownstone Quarries opened in the late 18th century, and they were operated by German immigrants. It was actually owned by the Burst family, who were a famous quarry family. They allowed two entrepreneurs to quarry stone starting in 1863, but they expanded to 4 men in 1867 and applied for a company charter. This wound out forming the Pennsylvania Brownstone or Brown Free Stone Company. Walton, who was one of the original shareholders, and they actually have there in Hummelstown, as you first come in, they have the Walton Mansion, which was his. He wound up getting appointed as the superintendent of the quarry in 1868. After a few more turbulent years following the Civil War, he purchased it outright in 1875. At this time, it was rechartered as the Hummelstown Brownstone Company in 1871, or it was 1891, I'm sorry. At the height of the production, it employed about 600 men. Most of the skilled men or workers were Italian, German, and Scottish, Irish immigrants. One unique thing about the brownstone is because of its nature, it can't be quarried in winter months because it'll crack very, very easily. So the only people that they kept in employment over winter months would have been the skilled employees. I also will mention that the quarries are actually on the National Registry of Historic Places. It's not as vast as, say, the quarries, the brownstone quarries of Portland, Connecticut, or Medina and Moscow, New York, but it was very much the equal in pretty much every respect as a competitor of most of these brownstone quarries. By the 1920s, due to improved methods of building and the building color preference had changed, the demand for brownstone had declined. And by 1927, they wound up shutting the quarries down. And then the Great Depression pretty much ended the company by 1929. They said in its history, or over the history of its operation, it produced about 4.3 million cubic yards of stone. As you can see from several of the pictures here, and we talked about in the video as well, the brownstone, or even sometimes it's called redstone, has a really, really beautiful quality to it. And we've filmed a couple different locations with this type of stone, and there's actually two different churches. The Lutheran church that's right down the street actually has that brownstone as well. It has very unique qualities, beautiful architectural look, and this was shipped all over the country. There's a couple different famous buildings. There's one, I think, down in West Virginia that used their stone. So with that, we will say goodbye. That's a little bit of history, and we will see you all about town.